Hello, my family. Today I am actually going to be transplanting my bok choy again. I've told you that I am learning to pretty much listen to my plants and visually allowing them to show me what they need in their care. This is something I've never done before, and I know it sounds strange, but it's working for me. It's the reason I have kept my bok choy so beautiful at this point. So by paying attention to them, by paying attention to their needs and how they are growing, it is helping to improve my ability as a gardener. This morning, by doing this morning I had noticed something about my bok choy that it sent an alert to me to tell me it's time to move. I currently still have 2 more weeks before the bok choy can go in the ground. Even though they are a cool weather plant, they were raised indoors. So at this point, they're not ready to go out there. Because they were grown indoors, I still have to have a week of transitioning these babies before they can even go into the ground. They're scheduled to be put in the ground about February the 22nd, so that leaves me 2 more weeks. But in the meantime, I still have to care for them. So at the next week, I can start transitioning in them. However, I'm going based by the weather as well. They can withstand some cool temps, but freezing temps to a seedling is not good on them. And I still have, well, this weekend for sure, we're down to 27 for one day. And then next week, if I'm not mistaken, we have at least one day of 31, 32 degrees. So I will be transitioning them through this where I can get them scheduled into the ground. I'm going to take you over to where the bok choy is now, and I'm going to show you what I'm fixing to do and why I'm fixing to do this. Okay, so here is our beautiful babies, and I want to keep them that way. But in order to do that, I have to pay attention to their growth. So what I am seeing right now, if I want to keep them this beautiful, I'm going to have to do something right now. Upon the inspection this morning, I started noticing there were roots at the top of my soil. It kind of sent an alert system to me that something is going bad. So when I pulled one of these babies out of this container that they're planted in, I'm going to show you, and you never want to grab them by the stems. You want to be very gentle. I just tend to turn them over just a bit. Go ahead and put this here so I can get the soil in this container. And squeezing the bottom and letting them come out. Now I'm hoping you can see this. You see these roots growing all over the place on this plant. Well, I also notice at the bottom they're starting to circulate and turn into circles. This means these babies need to be transplanted. Their root system is growing very fast. If I were to keep them in this container for the next 2 weeks, this is not going to make it, and these will become seriously root bound. So I need to start transplanting these very quickly, and that's what I'm going to be doing today. So I'm going to gently put this back in here for right now. I'm also going to talk about the containers. Now, these are my containers, and a lot of us save our containers, which is absolutely a fantastic idea. However, there is something else I do. We spend the time to purchase our non-soiled potting mix, a sterile mix for our seedlings and for our seeds. So it makes sense to me to also make sure that the housing that we save, that we would end up sterilizing these containers as well. I had these stored up in my barn for the year, not using them. So I decided it's time to use them because these need to be transplanted yet again to be able to survive for the next 2 weeks. What I end up doing though is I will sterilize these used pots as well. I will never just take a seedling and put it into the pot without washing these in hot soapy water. I want to make sure that the housing is just as disease-free as I would grow them. So I don't care what pot I use. If I have one that I have stored, I will always clean my pots because I want them to have the best, whether it be the soil or the housing, I want them to have the best. So I wash these in hot soapy water and then I'll dry them off. You don't necessarily have to do that, but I do. And I am going to be transitioning these according to their size into the size pot that's going to be their next step. So I thought I would go ahead and mention this stuff to you as well. Now I am going to be keeping the soil that they are in, which has nutrients in it. With it being 2 weeks, yesterday I purchased some potting mix at my co-op. So I'm actually going to be using that, keeping the soil that these babies are in with the nutrients in it. This soil tends to have some nutrients in them, but it's not going to be enough to keep it sustained for a long time. I'm not looking for a long time. I'm going to be putting mine in the garden where they have better nutrients. So I'm transplanting them to keep these roots from getting root bound and stunting the growth of these beautiful plants. So this is what I'm doing today. I am going to go ahead and fill this pot up right now and show you how I'm going to do this. Now with these, you do not want to, they're not leggy, and when you transplant plants like this, you don't want to turn around and put the soil above the soil in these planters. You want it soil level. So that's exactly what I'm going to do, but I got to make sure that when I put this in my pot that there's going to be enough room for that, or again I'm going to have the same issue. So when I put this in here, I am getting that soil level all the way around. This should buy me at least another 2 weeks, plus I got the space on the sides for these roots to start spreading out instead of staying in one confined area. So I am going to put a little bit of soil at the bottom of this. Come on, little baby. And this soil got wet in the rain yesterday. We had a good storm come in, so I'm not going to have to water it too much either. I don't want to overwater them. I may later throughout the day though. I'm just not going to do it at this moment. So now I'm going to take my plant. I'm going to massage very gently. Just gently massage the bottom of this so that the roots can move, and drop them down from those circled areas. And I'm going to put this down at the bottom. Yeah, a little too much in here. And then come in and fill it in. Just like so. I want these babies' roots to be able to expand. Technically, looking at this, I don't even think these pots are going to be big enough. So we're going to come back with even a bigger one. Now for these smaller ones, this will work, but for these much larger ones, because I do have 2 different levels here, so I am going to have to get 6 of these, even bigger than what they're in. So we will be back with a bigger pot. Okay, so we found ones for these bigger pots. And yes, I had to wash these as well to make sure that they were sterile. I'm trying to not get all this dirt in it as much as possible. Sometimes that's hard to do. But I just wanted the soil level that they came from, and that is all. This will ensure that my roots have plenty of room still for the next 2 weeks. Since they do grow, seems fairly quickly, I want to make sure that these babies have enough space that will last before I can put them out in the garden. So pay attention to those roots, pay attention to its growth, and this will help ensure that you have a better growing plant, a better disease-free, less stress. And these do get stress every time we transplant them. I don't like to transplant them too much, but I do want to make sure that they're going to be okay before they go in the garden. So again, I will have to transition these starting next week so that they can be put in the soil. But I have kept them this beautiful this far, and I would not have done that if I did not pay attention to those root systems. So whether I'm hoping this helps somebody, that's the reason why I decided to go ahead and make this video, because I don't know if anybody did know or not. So we're hoping this helps. So I am actually glad this year that I am paying attention to this. Honestly, I didn't know this much last year. So what I am learning, I am actually putting out on my content as well. So, I mean, these are beautiful, y'all, and I am extremely excited. The growth, the green, the roots, it's absolutely amazing, and I want to keep them this way. So much love to each and every one of you. I'm hoping this helps. I am going to go ahead. I've got 13 bok choy to up pot and put into bigger containers. So I am going to have to leave it at this. I also have some green buncheon onions. I'll show you those as well. I'm going to have to take and transplant these as well and start thinning them out. So these are actually currently being transitioned now. So I am going to finish this up and get these ready to be in the ground as well. So I'm hoping this helped each and every one of you. I love you dearly, and until next video, God bless. Much love from Parton's Heritage Homestead.